The sound of bare feet dragging across cold marble. Year 89, CE. You're standing in a Roman atrium, pressed against the wall, with 6 other witnesses. You can't move, you can't speak. Your only job tonight is to watch. In the centre of the room, an 18-year-old girl in a bridal veil stands frozen. In front of her, something draped in dark cloth. Behind her, a physician with a bag of instruments. Beside him, an elderly woman whose grip on the girl's arm says everything. There is no escape. The girl's mother wept this morning while braiding her hair. Her final words were a warning. Do not resist. Whatever they require, do not resist. It only makes everything worse. Now the girl reaches out, pulls back the cloth, and what's underneath, carved from dark wood, polished smooth by 1,000 brides before her, makes her face go white. But here's what she doesn't know yet. The statue is just the beginning. After that comes the physician's examination. After that comes the witnessed consummation. After that comes the documentation that will mark her body as legally transferred property. Every Roman bride for 1,000 years went through this. Every Roman mother prepared her daughter with the same whispered warning. And when Christianity conquered Rome, they erased it so completely that no one today knows it ever happened. Stay with me. Truth about Roman wedding nights and the ritual they tried to erase from history. If this story grips you, drop a like. It takes a second and helps us pull more voices out of the silence. Now let's go back to that atrium, back to the girl in the veil, back to the moment before everything changed. Her name was Flavia Tersa, 18 years old, daughter of a minor Roman official who had spent 3 years negotiating this marriage. The groom was Marcus Petronius Rufus, a grain merchant, 43 years old, wealthy enough to matter, connected enough to be useful. Flavia had met him exactly 3 times before this day. She didn't love him. Love wasn't the point. In Rome, marriage wasn't about love. It was contract law, property transfer, a merger of families documented and witnessed, like the sale of land or livestock, and Flavia was the property being transferred. The wedding procession that morning had been beautiful in its way. She wore the traditional flame-coloured veil, her hair arranged in 6 braids bound with wool ribbons, exactly as custom required. At the temple, priests sacrificed a sheep and examined its entrails. The omens were favourable. The gods approved. Her father signed the contracts using the ancient formula that made the union legally binding. Flavia spoke the ritual words that generations of brides had spoken before her. Ubi tu Gaius, ego Gaia. Where you are Gaius, I am Gaia. The phrase meant she was no longer herself. Her legal identity had been erased and rewritten in her husband's name. She belonged to him now, but the ceremony at the temple was just the beginning, the legal beginning. What waited at the end of the torchlit procession? In the house she had never entered, in the room where witnesses were already assembled, that was where the true transformation would occur. The crowds lining the streets sang songs as the procession passed. Not hymns, not blessings, obscene songs, explicit verses describing in graphic detail what would happen to Flavia that night. Young men shouted suggestions that made her face burn beneath the veil. Old women cackled and threw walnuts at her dress, a fertility blessing that felt like mockery. Her mother walked beside her, silent. Flavia had expected comfort, reassurance. Instead, her mother stared straight ahead, jaw tight, eyes empty. That morning, while arranging Flavia's hair, her mother had started crying. Not gentle tears, deep, shuddering sobs she tried to muffle with her hand. Flavia had asked what was wrong. Her mother's answer came in a whisper. Do not resist. Whatever they require of you tonight, do not resist. It only makes everything worse. Flavia hadn't understood. She thought she knew what wedding nights involved, the basics of Marcus Petronius Rufus, as the last light disappeared from the sky. The doorway was decorated with wool and greenery, 2 torches marking this as a place where a marriage would be consummated according to law. Her husband stood waiting in the doorway. Behind him, Flavia could see figures moving in the lamplight. Too many figures, far too many for a private moment between bride and groom. Marcus lifted her over the threshold. Tradition said it was unlucky for a bride to stumble entering her new home. But the gesture symbolized something older, something from an era when women were carried into their husbands' houses, whether they wished to enter or not. The door closed behind her, and Flavia finally saw what was waiting in the atrium. Count them with her. An elderly woman in formal robes, the pronuba. Her role was to oversee everything that would happen tonight and provide testimony if the marriage was ever legally challenged. A priest of uncertain affiliation, his face half shadowed by lamplight. 3 female slaves carrying basins of water and clean cloths. An older man with a leather bag at his feet. Medical instruments visible through the opening. And in the corner, draped in dark fabric that concealed its shape, a wooden structure nearly 4 feet tall. Too many people, too many eyes, too many witnesses for what Flavia had imagined would be private. The pronuba stepped forward.